conversation, Vidhi just pinged me, do you use AI in your day-to-day work? And I said, yes, I do use Cody AI. She said, then you have to present. I said, okay. So what I've tried to do, so Rohit, where is he? Yes. So Rohit set a very beautiful context for me because I think I saw a lot of hands for GitHub Copilot, right? So any Cody users already in this room? Okay, but there were quite a few Copilot users, right? Let me see a show of hands. Okay, so if you're familiar with Copilot, Cody is no rocket science. It's based on the same concept. So with this, I start my presentation. So the agenda is basically what is Cody AI, how does it work, how do you interact with it, and thanks to TWT, I said I also must do some experimentation. So I set out on a very ambitious path, that let me also try coding. And I have no experience or background of coding, okay? And with that, I tried to integrate Google Calendar and whatnot. So I'll take you down that journey also. So Cody AI is an intelligent tool which helps you to automate tasks and provide smart assistance. Now Cody AI is was developed for developers, but we documentation people have latched onto it. And let me say that since it was there in our organization, that's why we are using it. I did not do any POC or did not do anything because it was mandated by the organization. We started using it. How do you communicate with Cody AI? Just as you would with Copilot, ChatGPT, Google. You use plain, simple English. In fact, I've started using incomplete sentences, spelling mistakes to communicate with Cody, And I would say that my language maybe has become worse thanks to Cody. Cody uses your machine learning algorithms, and just like your GitHub Copilot, your output is there in that format, the text. Okay, now why is it such a favorite with the developers? Because these are the huge IDs that you can integrate with Cody. I prefer to use VS Code because in our organization we use VS Code. Okay, now if you want to play around with Cody AI, so Cody has a free version and an enterprise version. So if you want to experiment, what you all can do, you all can download VS Code, which is again free. You all can look for the source graph Cody extension. Go for the free one and you can install the extension, and then this server details for your code base is only for the enterprise version. With the free version, you will need to create your source graph account. And once you've integrated your Cody extension into your VS Code, then the world is yours. Okay, now I started with a simple weather HTML code, which is there freely open on the web. So I just copy pasted this, and this Cody itself gives me the option. What do I want to do? I can document it, explain the code, find the code. So the next one. Okay, so this is not what I've written. I just chose that document code option. So it even wrote the prompt for me. So it's really helping me become very lazy. So right from what it gave the introduction, features, everything, dependencies. So this is just a small screenshot, but and then you can go on refining it. Now what is the USP of Cody is that source graph has a beautiful search API. They have a very strong search API. And because of that search API, they can search across the entire code base. So not only your local code base, but also your remote repos, remote code bases, whatever links you give in, that everything can be searched. So based on that search API, that is what is Cody's USP. So okay, this is for coders, but I said why not? So I again took this code, this is HTML code only. So I played around with it, and if you see that little bit gray P, so what I did, I removed that P. And then Cody itself prompted me that there is a P tag missing there. So then I was like, okay, then I can try my hands at some coding as well. So this one, then I told it, please give me a code where I want to write the colors. So there it prompted me all the colors. So I said, okay, let's go on, let's be even more experimental. Okay, so this is a little small, but this was the prompt which I asked it to give me the documentation for the weather HTML. So it's given me that, and then you can go on refining it. The best part is you don't have to keep on giving context all the time. You just tell it what you want. Then if it's too much, then I tell it, give me only 200 words. Then it will refine that for me. Okay, this is the video playing. And you can keep on refining that. You wanted to reference to some file, then you can give an @ mention and it will pick up that file, it will look at it. And the best part is that you don't have to open all those files or anything. Your entire code base is there for it. So, okay, I'll give you a brief background of what we did in our enterprise thing. So we integrated our style guide as well as the code base. And from there, we are using it to write the blurbs for the release notes and the concept topics. So I think morning there were a lot of questions, right, how to use it. So we just, our source is HTML. HTML we convert to Markdown. Now this conversion to Markdown is also what is done in Cody. Cody helps us with that. We just input the HTML, we choose the extension of convert to Markdown. It converts to Markdown, then we tell it, look at all these Markdown files and give us a 200-word blurb. So yes, it gives us the blurb. And okay, so we are not eliminating the technical writer here, because finally we do the editorial as well. And we had a very strange case. We gave this to our TMEs and PMs, the output of Cody AI, with a lot of excitement. They were like, what is this marketing material that you all have given us? They said, please write in plain simple English. So we said, okay, thank you. The technical writer is here to stay then. Okay, this is where my ambitious experiment started with. So thanks to Zui, Shalaka and the team who said, come on, let's try integrating something. So my experience of Python was limited to a 4-hour workshop conducted by TWT. So that is the limit of my experience. But I said, okay, let me give it a try. So first I said, I just asked Cody, how do I integrate with the Google Calendar API? So my main purpose was I wanted to fetch something from my calendar just to see how the integration works, because as tech writers know, we feel a little hesitant. There's some development, some integration. So when these coders talk, we feel so left out. We feel like what hi-fi stuff they are talking about. But this is where I used Cody and I told it. So now Cody gave me such beautiful prompts. It started from the basics that, how do I integrate the Google Calendar API? I didn't even know where to look for the API. So it gave me the steps. So then how to set up a Google Cloud project. I didn't even know that, so I went a Google search for Google Cloud project, creating my account. Then how do you enable the API in the Google Cloud console? So all these steps, Cody gave me step-by-step instructions for all of this. Then how to enabling the API. Then even creating the credentials and all that. So all this is actually the part of GCP, but I felt very nice doing this because I felt, come on, I'm getting into the developer's domain. Okay, then this had me floored, okay, because I had no clue what is OAuth consent and all that. But again, then GCP and so it gave me very detailed guidance. If it's the first time, then what do you need to do? How do you have to create your OAuth client ID? Then even how to download the credentials, all this JSON and all this business. So I actually did all these steps. Okay, now all this was what I know, but how do I do? I have no clue of Python. So then I told Cody, please give me a Python script which will import my events from the Google Calendar. So it gave me this script. Not being a developer, I have no clue whether it's correct or not, but I decided to trust Cody and move on. Okay, so this was my first error. I very happily ran the Python script. This completely floored me. I had no idea what this is. Then I thought, okay, this URI business, something in GCP, this local host port, I think I have to go and configure. So I went into GCP and I did this. And then this came up, that access to your Google account and all that. So earlier, I had gone a little more ambitious. I thought I would, even do some read-write operations, and I would modify my calendar. But then I learned that the scope has to be changed and all that. I said, no, I don't have that much expertise also. Read only whatever is possible, I'll try and do that. So then finally when I reached this point, I was like, okay, I'm here at this point. And then when I ran the Python script, I got my upcoming events. So I said, okay. So finally, thanks to Cody, I actually felt like a programmer. And I felt, I'd done some very big job by integrating something and getting some output. So this was my experiments with Cody. If you want to play around with Cody, do visit the sourcegraph.com site. Also, if you want to read some API documentation, or if you have an API and you want to document it, you can copy the entire API, just paste it in Cody, and then it will give you the output. So frankly, it gives you an output for everything, and I'm still experimenting with it, and still learning and trying to find out more. Yeah, thank you so much. So, any questions? Yes, please.
Okay. So, would you like to sing? Okay. So first, with your request will be taken since she has accepted your offer. But we
want to add on to.
Yeah.
So thank you. I think a lot of what you just showed resonated. It just seemed like that I'm talking to myself.
Exactly.
Right?
So our sessions were planned one after the other. I think that
Yes. So you brought up some very beautiful thing during this process. It's not just using AI to do what we are doing. We've discovered so much around it, from Python libraries to how you, and not that everything it will do straight away correct at a first go. You have your own process, you get these errors. So I think you completed the story here. So I just wanted to congratulate you.
Thank you. And Rohit, you set the context for me so beautifully. And thank you for setting the base. So I think most of the questions that people had were